quite an appropriate choice of t-shirt as it turns out. I have a Logitech 922 webcam in front of me, and I use the Logitech Capture software, generally speaking, when I'm going to record something. But I'm just going to demonstrate that there is a very subtle problem with this, which annoys me quite a lot of the time. And it goes something like this. Now, when I play this back, there's going to be a little bit of a lag between... Well, actually, it's not even a lag. The sound will arrive before the video does, basically. Because I'm using a Blue Snowball external mic. Because it should give me better sound quality than the webcam's mic pickup would do. I'm actually going to just test that for a moment. Because I've never actually done this, strangely, because I've always had the external mic. So I'm going to... This is the webcam mic. So it'll be interesting to see what difference this actually does make, because I very rarely use it. Because normally my webcam is not looking at me, it's looking at something that I'm filming. And I'm now going to switch back to the Snowball. That's the Snowball again. So there are ways and means to counter this problem, and I'm actually going to try one of them now. Because I've heard tell on another video that if I switch things like autofocus, auto white balance, image settings, advanced settings, not that I was using any. Now you can see that's absolutely crippled the image quality. But I'm wondering if I now do this, whether that will actually have made a difference, because the camera should now be doing less work in terms of the amount of data it's got to pump into my PC to achieve the same effect. I'm just having a look at what else it might be doing. Right now it's prioritizing frame rate rather than exposure, which should in theory help, I guess. But if you want to actually cure the problem, there are ways and means of doing it if you're having the same thing. I'm going to turn the stuff back on now. Because I need all the help I can get, basically. So that's image settings on. I've got the brightness ramped up a bit, actually. I might ramp that back down again. So interesting. There's also an anti-flicker setting that I've just noticed. Not really noticed that before. So it is quite irritating when you're experiencing this, because it means that every time I record myself speaking to the camera like this, I generally have to go back and do something to it in a video editing piece of software, because otherwise it just looks like I'm badly dubbed, which is irritating. But there are a couple of ways you can fix it. You can go to something like Hit Film, which is what I use, generally speaking, and it just gives you a video line and an audio line. So if you move your audio line along a little bit, having separated the two segments of data, then you should be able to put in maybe about 20 milliseconds worth of delay, and that will probably result in your audio matching up with your video again. On OBS you can do the same thing. You can actually build into the audio stream in advanced settings, I think it is, a delay which will achieve the same effect. So basically it will slow your audio down so that it arrives in sync with the video after a little bit of experimentation. So the reason I was clapping before is because if you do that, I haven't just clapped, but you get the idea. If you do that, then you should get an idea of what the delay is as between the video and the audio, and then you can sort of sync yourself up so that you have a visual clue for the clap. So if you do it so that you can see when your hands actually meet, or find some other way of doing it that produces noise, obviously, then you should be able to fix your video in that way. Now, personally, I find this deeply annoying, because you would think in this age that, you know, software like this would just figure it out and do it and merge the two in the right way. It doesn't seem to, and I've seen enough other videos on this that I know this is a problem. I don't know if it's just a Logitech thing or what it is, but I'm actually starting to think towards getting a dedicated camera for doing this sort of task, which is crazy because even the dedicated cameras still tend to need a separate microphone. But I can't think of a better way to avoid this issue where you've got this disjoint when you're trying to film yourself and the audio gets out of sync, because with the camera solution, the camera's some sort of separate microphone would at least be plugged straight into the camera, so I'm assuming that that then results in everything kind of auto-syncing itself because you're not using a webcam anymore, and the PC isn't a variable factor in terms of how everything's arriving in the same place at not quite the same time. So yeah, it's a frustrating one, and as I say, if anyone's got any recommendations for alternative webcams that are somehow smarter, you know, I mean I can use OBS and get around it that way. It's just that because all of the camera's settings are in the Logitech Capture software, it's quite a handy place for me to go to. So often if you don't see me on screen, it's because I'm avoiding the lip sync issue by just doing directly what I'm doing and just talking over the top of it, rather than you needing to see me at the same time. But for videos like this, I'm talking direct to camera, obviously it's more of an issue. And it was very clear to me when I did my Bluffer's Guide to Star Trek, the first time I did that, I was seriously out of sync and I couldn't let that lie, so I had to go back and fiddle with it. But strangely, even then, it looks all right on my mobile, but when I looked at it on a bigger screen, I still seem to have that sort of out of syncness. And I've heard another video mention variable frame rates, so I don't know whether or not the camera is always struggling that little bit because it's a webcam, and as a result, the syncing is just not workable for it. But you know, it is what it is, I guess. So I'm not going to mess with the syncing on this one. So if I've looked out of sync on it, that'll be why, because I've purposely left it so you can see, hopefully, an example of it not working as well as it might. So just some information for you should it be of use. Cheers for now.